you're basically God and you're put it in God form.
I'm essentially all-knowing, and I can
Okay.
create a simulation of people with subjective experiences, right?
Okay.
It could be a simulation I make up. But I'm just trying to see whether or not you say that there's joint responsibility within this context.
I mean that doesn't make any sense. Like, nah, it doesn't make any sense. So you're saying that you're all knowing, basically God, for example. Okay.
No, I know everything that's going to happen within the simulation. I know that this button creates a simulation and someone gets tortured.
Prisoner rescue.
If I click the button knowing that that's going to occur, am I responsible for causing that?
Bridge back to Hunter
Or would
1.
you say it's
Exfil
immoral for me
point
to do
marked.
that?
Extract all prisoners.
Yeah, you are responsible for.
Okay, so I am responsible.
Okay.
So do you think that God had the choice to either create or not create?
Yeah, he had the choice to do whatever he wanted.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. We'll go into this. Do you think that the universe is imperfect?
Is imperfect or? Yeah. The
Yeah, the universe is imperfect. So
Well-
God had a choice between existing alone and creating. So the choice to either create or not create.
Survivor.
And God existing alone and not creating, there's imperfect because there's the perfect God and then the imperfect reality. So what you're telling me is that if God decided
Down
to
to
create
you.
the universe,
Finish the
he
mission.
desired imperfection over perfection. Thank you,
No,
Trey. I
no.
appreciate the subscription.
No, because we made this world and this universe imperfect. We brought sin to this world.
See,
We
this is where
brought.
you back off of the responsibility, but you already agreed with joint responsibility within the context
But no,
of the
but
analogy.
you-
So
but-
again, if you
but-
agree with it in the context of the analogy, how come God does not have responsibility in this circumstance?
No, you can't blame God for what you did. Mind you, you have your own free will.
Wait,
right?
wait. Both have responsibility.
Yeah.
I'm not just blaming God or just blaming you. What
You're
I'm
not
saying
gonna
is
die.
that
I
I
got
think
you.
both have blame in this circumstance. And the blame that I'm referring to is responsibility for causing this to occur.
No.
Right? So how can you explain to me that a perfect God desires an imperfect creation over, imperfect state of affairs over a perfect state?
Okay, see, that's the thing. It's like you've heard of Adam and Eve, right?
I'm reloading.
For example, they, in the Bible, they brought sin to the world, right?
That
Yeah,
round
I already took
reloading.
this into account
Let's
within
win
the analogy
another.
that I posed.
Okay, so
I trust me, everyone knows this.
Changing mag.
all right, so when God, so you're basically saying that why is God bringing why is there evil in this world? Why he can make it non-evil?
No, I'm
Prisoner
talking about
rescue.
perfection. I'm saying
Oh,
why would a perfect God desire an imperfect
Hunter 1, threats
state of affairs
incoming.
over a
Keep the
perfect
prisoners
state of
secure.
affairs? Because God creating would imply that it's imperfect. So what this basically tells us is that God is not perfect. Therefore, a perfect God is not perfect.
You're kind of backing up from the same thing. I'm saying that we made this world imperfect as we are. So you cannot say, oh, God created, and his intentions was to create this world to be like the most perfect place. But
Wait,
you
wait,
put
so
a
then
sin
God
of
made a
sin.
mistake because God knew that would happen given the fact that God was going to create it. God knew everything. God's all-knowing, right?
Yeah.
So God knew that would happen given the fact that God created it. Either God made a mistake or God it fully intended for it to be imperfect.
Reloading.
Okay.
Prisoner
Go
rescue.
on.
Listen. When
Go
God
on.
created us, right? He
All
opted himself
hunters,
out
enemy
from
units
everything.
approaching.
Like,
Don't let them
so when
extract
God
the prisoners.
messes with reality, it doesn't become reality.
Requesting
Right?
recon
That's why,
flyover.
for example,
Copy that. UAV is on station.
someone could fall off the building and, I don't want to say the word, but perish to, and whatnot. But if God interferes with it,
Blinding
but if God
mine.
interferes with
Appreciate
it,
that.
then it's not reality anymore.
Changing
That
mag.
round's ours. Let's
I'm not
win
talking about
another.
God interfering after the
I know,
fact.
I know.
What I'm
I know,
referring
let-
to is God deciding to create or not
Let me
create.
let me put this part. So when God
Hey, pick me
kinda
up
lost where I
after
was.
this, Jules.
Okay, so when God tells
Switching sides.
tells you not to, for example, when God tells you not to do this,
Prisoner
right,
rescue.
you have your own free will not to do it, but you know the consequences. He at
Hunter
the
1,
end of the
secure
day,
the
he
prisoners.
wants
Clear to
everything
engage
to
all
be
threats
perfect,
on
right?
target.
That's kind of his,
That's
his
what we
intention.
would expect from a perfect God, but we know based on what we see with reality,
Right.
that's not the case. this God
Exactly.
desired imperfection over perfection.
Blinding
No, he
mine.
didn't. He didn't desire imperfection.
Yes,
We
he did.
brought
Else
it-
he would not have created.
No.
If God didn't create, then there would have been a perfect state of affairs.
Mi-
God
mind
decided to
you-
create,
Friendly
therefore there
UAV
is
on
now an
station.
imperfect state of affairs. So tell me why a perfect God desired imperfection over perfection.
No, he desired perfection from the beginning. We brought sin.
Okay, then
into
there would be no
ourselves.
creation. There would be
What?
no creation.
He created like you're not understanding. He created this world to be perfect, right? But due to our own sin,
No, he didn't.
Setting mine.
what are you talking about?
He created it knowing that it would lead to imperfection. So God
cre-
might have originally made it perfect,
Prisoner secure.
but God knew
Extraction
with the
standing by.
intention that it would end up being imperfect. God knew the consequences of creating,
No,
right?
no.
Humans know the consequences of the actions they make.
We
So
won
does
that
God,
round.
right?
Now do it
So God has
again.
Guys, kids are pretty
responsibility for
good.
that happening the same way that he
Exactly.
has responsibility for happening, because God
Now I'm
had
playing.
made decisions.
Just
whether it was
crazy,
or not.
bro.
So
Okay,
again, can you explain to me why God desired imperfection over perfection?
okay. So
Oh my
when
God, it
God
did it, double.
created you, right?
Prisoner
He
rescue.
let you do your own way. Basically, gave you that
Reach back to Hunter
that
1.
free will
Exfil
to do
point.
Friendly
what you
UAV
want. He
online.
upped himself out of it. So once you do the thing, it's like he knows what you're gonna do if you do it the right way and the bad way. He knows that both ways, right? If you do it the right way, this is what's gonna continue to happen. If you do it the wrong way, this is what's gonna happen, right? So it's all left to you. So we chose darkness. Automatically, our self automatically chooses darkness, no matter who you are, right? In this
Friendly
world.
VTOL entering this
So we
sector.
automatically chose darkness over the light that he originally planned for all of us. So no, he didn't just be like, oh, I know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna do this. No, he brought this. He said, okay, here's this. You do what you please, right? He knows if you go left, he knows what's gonna happen. If you go left, right, he knows what's gonna happen. So he lets you make that decision. So whatever decision Adam and Eve or whoever took,
That
that's what
round's
led
ours.
to our
Let's win
outcome
another.
today.
Damn, now your team's back
So
on.
yeah, he knows what happened last.
That's crazy.
He's a retard, pretty much.
He doesn't know.
Switching sides.
That we don't know.
So he's
Prisoner
all
rescue.
knowing.
But the thing.
If he's
but the
all
thing-
knowing, he would know that.
But the thing is,
That's
Reach back
awesome.
to
us
Hunter
as,
1. Prevent the enemy from
as
extracting
Christians,
the
we
prisoners.
don't know how God thinks. We don't
Okay.
know. It's like
Okay,
till we
this is,
till we
this,
die.
this is my
Till
question.
we die.
Changing mags.
God doesn't know it. So if God doesn't know it in this circumstance, God does not know everything. Therefore, God is not all knowing.
I didn't say.
Switching
I didn't say. Didn't you hear? I said he knows what's gonna happen when you go right. He knows what's gonna happen.
The enemy is
If he
moving a
doesn't know
prisoner.
which one to
Stop
pick,
them.
What?
right? So if he doesn't know a particular condition, he's not all
He
knowing.
lets you pick.
Our UAV is orbiting the
What?
area.
Does he know which one you pick?
But that's the
All
thing.
Hunter.
Though. You also
Mission
gotta understand,
accomplished.
he lets you
Lack a
pick.
job.
It
Michael,
doesn't matter if
I
he
want you to
knows
answer
or
my
he doesn't
Michael.
know.
Feels
Michael,
better,
Michael.
dude. Sorry.
Listen to my
I'm-
question.
Mhm.
Does he know which one you pick?
We don't know.
Yes, then he's not all knowing. You don't know if he's all knowing.
But that's the thing. We don't know. I can't read his mind.
You don't know if a perfect God is all knowing.
What?
That's what you're telling me right now.
He is all knowing, but he.
Okay, now you know he's all knowing. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you know he's all knowing, how
Okay.
come he doesn't know this particular condition?
He know. You're not getting it. He knows the left and right. He knows.
But does he
both
know which
ways.
one you select?
It doesn't matter if he knows.
That
which
does
one
not.
he
Yeah, it
took.
doesn't. It does matter because if
It
he's all
doesn't.
knowing, he knows everything.
It
So if
do-
I
it
give you a
doesn't.
thing and he doesn't know it, then he's not all knowing. I don't understand what you're not getting here, man.
No, you're not understanding what I'm
Trust
saying.
me, I am understanding completely.
Okay, explain what I just said. So you're not tripping me
Yeah,
up.
I just did. You just explained that God is all knowing, and then you said God is not all knowing, and then you went back to saying God is all knowing, and then now I'm asking you what you mean by that, and then you said that there's a particular condition that God doesn't know. God knows what happens when you go right. God knows what happens when you go left, but God doesn't know whether or not you're going to go right or left.
What-
right?
he-
So if
what-
God doesn't know that particular condition, God is not all knowing, because God being all knowing would infer that God knows everything. And if there's a condition that God does not know, God does not know everything. Therefore, this all knowing God that you're referring to does not exist. Therefore, the God you believe in doesn't exist.
Okay, but that's the thing though. You cannot. We don't know if he knew or he didn't know. So there are certain things that we ourselves don't know. Right? You don't know what happens when you
But
die.
you just told me
right?
you know. Dude, you
But-
just say I don't know, and then I asked
but-
you,
But
Does he is he all knowing? And then you said yes.
yeah,
So,
he
like-
is all. But listen,
So he's all knowing, but I don't know if he's all knowing.
listen. Let me say this. All right, he does know what's gonna happen in the future, right? But that's our own belief. We believe that he's all knowing. He said it. He is all knowing. Okay, but there are certain things that we still, as humans, he still hasn't revealed to us, right? So, for
Because
example,
we're not
what
all knowing. Agreed.
exactly we're not all knowing. So,
But
for
God
example,
is. Okay, so if God is
do
all
you-
knowing, does God know which one we choose?
okay, I have a question for you though.
So does
Uh,
God know that the reality is going to be imperfect?
Yes.
Because this is a complete. Okay, God knows the reality is going to be imperfect. Let's go back to it.
Okay.
Since God knows that it's going to be imperfect, why does God desire imperfection over perfection?
Sorry, repeat that.
Why does God desire imperfection over perfection?
He never desired imperfection over
So,
perfection.
so then why did God choose to create rather than to not create?
Well, that's a question you ask him.
No, this is just logic, right?
Well, me
You're
personally,
gonna have to give
I-
a justification. If you don't, then you don't have a justification for
yeah,
God being perfect.
I don't know why he chose to
Therefore, the
create.
God you believe in doesn't exist. So like this is a
That-
contradiction.
I know, but that's what you believe, though. But can I ask a
No, this
question?
is an entailment. It's not just what I believe. It's an entailment of the view that you hold.
Okay, I have a question though. All right, so you leave this world right now. Do you know where you're going, or do you know what happens?
I don't know.
Why not?
Because I have no knowledge.
You have no knowledge of it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so if God comes and reveals to you and be like, okay, when you die, this is what happens in the spiritual world, right? So now you know
Yeah.
exactly because He revealed it to you,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so there are certain things that we don't know right now. We don't know what
Damn.
created this world, right? We don't know if He
I
said
thought
He
you'd
is
have more
all
fight
knowing.
than that.
He knows that He is all knowing. He knows when your last day on earth is going to be. He knows when my last day on earth is going to be.
Keep eating your chips, you fat ass.
Yeah.
That fuck.
Round war.
Right? A perfect being, we would expect a perfect creation. If we see that there's not a perfect creation, right? Then we would expect an imperfect creator if there is a creator.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so since that's the case, and we have an imperfect creation, we exist in imperfect reality, that is going to implicate that the perfect God you believe in does not exist.
Okay, I mean that's your own belief, and I
No, it's not my own belief. It's an entailment of your view. This is logic. It's not.
So
it's
you're
not
saying
even my
that-
belief. This is an entailment.
We're
of your
taking
view.
Alpha.
You're saying that I believe that my God doesn't exist. Is that what you're
We're
saying?
losing
No,
Delta.
I'm saying the characteristics that you believe that God has is not correspondent with reality.
But that's the thing,
We're
though.
losing
You're
Charlie.
basically asking me questions that
Alpha
that
secure.
only one person knows.
No,
Yeah.
you can answer
Secure
this given your
Bravo.
view.
So you're basically asking me why did God
You
create?
can answer by saying that you have
Enemy
no
securing
answer.
Charlie.
That's the only answer that you can give because it's a contradiction. That's the point.
But that doesn't make any.
Unless you could say God is not perfect, right? Then you can't say anything here.
Well,
that has
no-
to be your
no,
next
so
answer.
that-
You have
but
to, you have to
that's-
go
that-
and you have to move the goalpost to another position.
So that you're making me trying to say God is not perfect, though. But because I know that He's perfect.
Yeah, it's illogical to think that God is perfect.
Yeah, it is logical, and it is.
No, it's
it is,
illogical.
For me, it's logical.
No, it's not for you or for me. It is either illogical or it's logical. Logic is true independent of your feelings, of your desires, of your opinions. It's an
Yeah,
objectively
it's
true
also-
statement. Or not statement, objectively true phenomena.
Okay, so you're basically telling me that based on what I've told you, I cannot quite answer, or you're saying that I should not, I should just say that I don't know or something like that, right?
No, you say God is not perfect. That's the conclusion of this argument. If
But-
you
but
agree
that's
with
the-
all my premises, your conclusion is that God is not perfect.
I do
If
not
God
agree
exists.
with. I do not because you're asking questions that we as humans don't even freaking know.
No, we
It's
do.
like-
We do because it's an entailment of your view. If
Alright,
God is
so-
perfect, it would
okay.
entail that there would be a perfect creation. Do you agree with that?
Sorry, repeat that.
If God is perfect, that would
Uh-huh.
entail a perfect creation.
Okay.
Okay, you agree with that, okay? We exist in an imperfect creation.
Mhm.
Therefore, a perfect God does not exist.
We exist in a imperfect creation due to what we did.
That's
As
irrelevant.
human.
That's irrelevant.
that
we're
doesn't
the,
make
we're
any
the,
sense.
we're
If
the
you bring-
creation of God, correct?
If exactly.
So if we're imperfect, that contradicts God being perfect. Why? Because a perfect being would entail a perfect creation. Since
No.
there's not a perfect creation, then there is no perfect God.
But you cannot compare us to God, because we brought this. Mind you, he
In
gave us.
terms of responsibility, we can. We already did, and you already agreed with the simulation analogy that proves that there would be joint responsibility within the context of that system. Why? Because God had a choice to either create or not create. So ultimately, God is going to be responsible, all things considered.
The enemy
because
took
God is
Echo.
knowing. All
The
knowing.
enemy has the
But you
lead.
cannot. It's like if you bring a thief to your house, what do you expect to happen?
Ground war.
Well, first of all,
Hostile UAV in
I-
the
I-
area.
you're not all knowing. So if you're all knowing and you bring someone that you know is going to steal stuff from your house to your
Exactly.
house, knowing that they're going to do that,
Right.
yes, you are responsible for that.
Okay, you're responsible for that. So you brought
Friendly
something
UAV
to your
online.
house, right?
You
brought
had the
something
ability
your
to
house.
cause that or to not cause that. And
We're
by
taking
causing
Bravo.
that, you then led
Securing
to that attack.
Alpha.
Exactly. So we brought sin into this world, which made it imperfect. So you can't blame, not say blame,
Planting
but you
mine.
can't say he didn't try to create an
Michael,
imperfect.
Objective Alpha
you already
secure.
You already
Yeah,
talked about
but-
the simulation. When I click the button for the simulation a billion times, I have responsibility for it, even though the person in the simulation is the one that exercised their free will to torture the other person.
But the thing is, though, it's like that's the thing. But we can't, as human beings, there are certain things we just can't question or we can't understand, right?
We understand this. Do you think 1 + 1 is equal to 2?
Yeah.
Do you understand that? Okay.
Yeah,
Well, you
but-
can understand this too.
No, there. Like I said, you're asking like I said before, you're asking questions that are only
Securing
meant
objective
for God.
Bravo.
You cannot answer. You
No,
cannot
no,
ask
this
me.
question's not meant for God. This is
So-
an entailment of holding the position
We're taking
that a perfect
Delta.
God exists. There
Enemy's
wasn't a
taking
perfect
Charlie.
God to tell us.
What the
This is the argument against that.
But
Friendly
that's
UAV
what's
on
really
station.
saying.
Enemy
No, it's
UAV
not what it
overhead.
is. It's an entailment of there being a perfect God. It's a logical contradiction.
The enemy
Logic
took
is true
Charlie.
independent of my mind.
No, but that's the thing, though. You're also saying that God exists. God made a perfect world.
Our counter
God chose
UAV
an
is active.
imperfect world
Securing
over
Delta.
a perfect world, right?
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Thank you for the little crown. I appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what you're saying, right?
Mhm.
So the reason why, and I'm saying the reason why, it's not that. So, like, do you read the Bible at all? Okay, but like just go to Genesis. That's where it all started. Okay, the beginning of the Bible, the beginning of the whole Bible. That's literally it explains everything, right?
That doesn't
God
go
made this
around
world
the
to be
whole
perfect.
thing.
But God made this world to be perfect.
Securing
Created
Charlie.
Adam and Eve to be perfect. Made everything
Well,
to
then
be
you made a
perfect.
mistake.
Survivor
But-
online.
Okay, so see what you just said right there? He made a mistake.
Find cover. Enemy UAV active.
Who does the blame?
Bro, God, you made a mistake.
Securing Echo.
So why don't
Enemy
why don't you
UAV
blame-
overhead.
Delta
You.
secure.
I say there's joint responsibility.
No, there's no
I already said the simulation
Leave us-
analogy.
leave us that
There was
free
joint
will.
responsibility, not only the person. Cause that event's happening in the first place.
Our UAV is orbiting in the area. Hostile UAV in the area.
Yes.
Okay, so now you're disagreeing with after the fact, after you know how it implicated upon your view. This is what I
No.
say is confirmation bias, because you already conceded to it earlier, and now
No.
you're going back on that, seeing that it applied to your view in a way in which made it incoherent.
No, I disagree
Shoot
for
the other
what-
guys!
For you saying that
Okay,
he
what's the
made,
definition of responsibility?
I explained it to you.
Go again.
Like I said, you said a joint responsibility. is
Responsible, I
something-
mean responsible, my bad.
Okay, a joint response.
Not
If you're responsible, if God is responsible for us, right? Is that what you're saying?
Hmm?
If God is responsible for us,
Enemy UAV active.
Yeah, no, I'm asking if God is responsible for the action.
Enemy
of
UAV
society.
overhead.
Like when God knowingly creates the universe and it causes this, knowing that it's going to occur, He caused it knowingly.
no, he doesn't have the responsibility because
Friendly
he
UAV
turned
online.
it into what it is. Like you can't, like.
Hostile
it's
Wilson deployed.
Enemy tactical.
Securing objective objective
Okay,
Echo.
if
Like
I'm,
when I
if,
throw this ball through someone's window, like a
Right.
baseball through their window, I
Right.
know that it's gonna break through, right? Am I
Right.
responsible for what happened?
yeah,
Okay. So then why is God not responsible for the fact,
Hostile
right,
UAV
that
in the
he
area.
decides to create the universe knowing that it's going to cause this?
no, you're not making sense. So, okay, so you're babysitting a kid, right? That kid for the matter of time.
I see.
Okay, so if the kid decides
Friendly
to,
counter UAV is online.
for
We're
example,
losing
you're watching the kid or whatnot, and the kid decides to, I don't know, all of a sudden smash the TV, right? Who's there to blame? Like you're just sitting there and all of a
The
sudden
kid,
it
you
happens.
didn't know
Taking
that that was
effective
going
fire.
to occur.
What?
I'm
Kid,
reloading.
you didn't know that that was going to occur.
Exactly.
We've lost Bravo.
So why
You're like negligent.
Enemy
why do you
securing
think
Alpha.
the parents should blame you?
I just explained why
Enemy
it didn't fit
UAV
under my
active.
definition of responsibility. It's
No,
not
no,
a
no,
good
no.
analogy.
No, I'm just asking a question.
Setting
You
mine.
Yeah,
don't
but
have
it's not a good
Friendly
analogy.
UAV on
because I
station.
can tell you how it doesn't apply to my definition.
We've
of
lost
It doesn't
half
matter
the
though.
field.
Well,
Fight
you
back.
at least answer the question. I answer all the questions you had.
I did
But
answer it.
So why shouldn't the parents blame you?
Secure Bravo.
Taking effective
Exactly.
fire.
Right? So okay,
God
let's
knows
say-
that this is going to happen, given the fact that God creates. How
Enemy
is this
counter
terrible?
UAV is
so that
active.
comes into that reality stuff that I was talking
Enemy UAV overhead.
of certain things that we do. So right, you can go today and decide to kill someone. He's not going to stop you.
We're taking Echo.
Enemy UAV active.
Okay.
And
Okay, so
I'm talking about the
but
decision
you
of God
blame
either
him.
choosing to create or not
Setting
create.
mine.
but you blame him for wanting to you basically blame him. Oh, why did he create me? Right?
Dude, I'm just talking about responsibility.
We
Yeah,
control
and
Echo.
I'm telling you.
Tell me how
Hostile
God,
UAV in
tell me
the
how under
area.
your definition, God does not have responsibility within this context.
Enemy securing Delta.
Enemy
Repeat that one more
UAV
time.
overhead.
Yeah, thank you for the
Enemies
sunglasses
deployed a counter
appreciation.
UAV.
Explain to me how under your definition, God does not have responsibility.
Like I said, he opts himself out of certain things that we do. It's not his problem. You do what you
Enemy
will. It's called a
securing
free will
Echo.
decision.
No,
We're
I'm asking
taking
you how it
Charlie.
fits your definition. You're not engaging. How does it fit to your how does it not fit to your definition?
That's not what I
The
meant.
enemy has Delta.
Okay, you have a definition of responsibility. It applies to circumstances. My definition of responsibility is that you knowingly cause something to happen in the circumstance, right? That applies to the circumstance because God knowingly caused this to occur. Thank you for the sunglasses, I appreciate it. Same
We're
reason.
losing Alpha.
Hostile counter UAV overhead.
They know that it's going to occur given the fact that they throw it at the window, right? So that means that they're going to be responsible for replacing the window. Okay?
Right.
Explain to me how God does not have responsibility.
Hostile
What
sentry
God
is online.
because God knowingly caused it. Thank you for those sunglasses, I appreciate it.
So you're blaming,
Securing
you're blaming
objective
God
Charlie.
for your actions.
There's joint responsibility. Joint responsibility.
No.
We have responsibility as individuals, and so does God, because God caused it.
You're basically blaming God for what you did.
Michael,
There's no other
if a
definition
parent
for it.
gives their kid
Securing objective
if
Bravo.
their parent gives their kid a fork, right, and puts them next to an outline, is that negligent? Because
Kilos
they're
down.
responsible for what occurs, even though the kid is the one that put the fork
Hostile
into
UAV in the area.
It's the parent's fault
Yeah, why?
Enemy UAV overhead.
because she put it there.
Charlie
Knowingly,
secure.
right? She caused it knowingly.
Bravo
Okay.
secure.
So
Yeah.
when God causes something knowingly, how come he's not responsible,
Nemico.
but parents and humans are?
Hostile UAV in the area.
He didn't ask you to
Hostile
go
airstrike
through the
incoming.
rocket the window, did he?
No, you
We're
can't.
losing Echo.
Right? I'd never even mentioned that parents provide he like
Our
I
UAV
just said
is
he
orbiting
can't
the area.
to you. Knowingly.
He
Like
put it-
basically
so
knew that
he
you were okay.
knowingly-
So like this is like here's the analogy.
Friendly
The
UAV
parent
on
knows that the
station.
kid is going to put the fork in the outlet.
Our
They
UAV
then
is
give the
orbiting
kid
the
fork,
area.
put them near
Enemies
the outlet.
taking Echo.
Right? That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent.
Okay.
Okay.
We've lost
They're
Echo.
responsible for putting the fork into the outlet, but they didn't use their free will to do that.
Securing objective
Right.
Okay. So why do humans
Okay.
have responsibility but God doesn't? What's the distinction?
Okay, you have your
Wait,
own.
wait, wait. Are you
have a mind
driving?
of-
Are you driving?
No, I'm just in the passenger seat.
Oh, okay, okay.
You have your own you know 1+1, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know to not go rob a old lady, right? So if you having a bad day and you woke up one morning, you blame God for it?
Bro, you're literally not listening. How is this even
I am listening. That's
Yes,
basically what
yes,
you're
I
saying.
would blame God for it. There's joint responsibility.
Friendly
The
mortar
person
strike
that
on the
caused
way.
it and
We're losing Charlie.
both knowingly have
How did he-
responsibility.
How
God
did-
had
how
a
did he-
choice.
Friendly
listen,
counter
God had a
UAV is
choice
on
to create or
station.
not create.
We're
God, when
taking
having
Echo.
a choice to either create or not create, knew that you were going to cause this to happen. Given the fact that that's the case,
Okay.
yeah, God caused it.
So you expect him to
You're,
drop
you're,
down?
you're
and
not
stop?
driving, correct, sir?
No, I'm not. I'm really. So you expect him to just drop down and help you and stop you?
Securing
No,
Echo.
I'm expecting
whatever
him
you're
not
doing?
to create. Are you listening?
Yeah. So if you're expecting him not to
I'm hit.
create, so
Moving
why
here.
don't you?
Last
Is your
minute.
car moving right now,
Lighting
by the way?
mine.
Sorry, what?
Is your car moving?
Yeah, I'm really not driving.
Okay, if the car's moving, can you
if
tell
you're-
the person who's driving to say
Echo
hi real quick?
secure.
Okay, for sure, you're good. I'm just making sure. I appreciate it.
No, I get you. I feel you.
Just so the chat knows as well, because if they spam it in the comments, I'll get held accountable for that. So, you go for it.
Okay. So, but it's like you can't expect God. There's certain that God is too big for us for
lead
you
is
to
ours.
expect Him to just
30
drop down and
seconds
be like, hey,
left.
you stop it. And it's not fair
That's
to
not, no, that's not what my argument is. I'm not
Enemy
saying God
securing
needs to
Echo.
stop. I'm saying God has the ability to create or not create. God
Enemy
chose to
securing
create,
Charlie.
therefore God is causally responsible.
Enemy UAV active.
created
Enemy
it with the
UAV
intention
overhead.
of it
10
being good.
seconds.
Friendly UAV
God
online.
created it with the intention of
Enemy UAV active.
Okay? That's an entailment of there being freedom.
Mission complete.
God knows this.
Good job.
God created
Okay.
it knowingly. Therefore, God
Uh-huh.
is responsibility. Okay? Where do you disagree with that?
God is responsible for this earth, right? He's responsible for creating this earth for the beautiful things you see every single day, right?
Okay, if he's responsible for the beautiful things, he's responsible for the negative things as well.
What that's the thing you're not understanding. It's like we brought this thing to ourselves. You can't blame him for something that
Okay, then
did
we
to
brought all the
ourselves.
good to us as well then. God
Yeah,
didn't bring the
we
good
can't-
because we brought it all.
No, everything good is in God. Everything bad is
Okay,
not of
everything
him.
good is God, everything bad is not. This is a special pleading. Why
Alright?
are you making a special exception that says it applies to everything good, but nothing applies to the bad?
Because
God's
he's
only
not,
responsible for the good, not for the bad.
because God is never bad. He's never that's the thing
Okay, well then God doesn't exist because bad exists and God had the ability to create or not create. Unless you can say that this is a necessary condition for perfection, which it's not because God existed alone and was perfect. So again, there's no justification for the imperfection that we see, given the fact
But-
that there would be a perfect God. There's no way to justify this because it's a
But the thi-
contradiction.
that's one thing that you have to understand at some point in life in our life. You have to understand that everything good that happens in this world is because God's hand is in it. Everything bad that happens in this world is because God was not in it. God's all good and all loving, right?
You put two different conditions, sir.
Is because of
You're cutting out, by the way. But the two different conditions were very apparent. I'll let it wait. Hello? Okay, so basically what he's implying here, everyone, is that God has a condition where God created the good, but God did not create the bad. I like how you referred to God was not there for the bad, but you referred to God creating the good. So if God creates the good, the same logic would apply that God created the bad. You can't give me a distinction between the two that says that God created the good, but God did not create the bad. That doesn't make any sense. It's incoherent.
But I'm saying that everything good, it's in God. God is good. That's why you hear that saying all the time. God is good. God is good. Everything good comes from God. But everything that it's like all the God would never tell you to go murder your neighbor or go steal something. That's obviously evil and bad.
That's a non
So that's
sequitur.
not
Did
coming
God
from God.
create the evil?
What?
Did God create the evil?
We created created evil our own self.
Did
And
God
sometimes
create
God
us?
does use evil.
Wait, did God create
Yeah.
us? Okay, if God created us and we created the evil, God created evil.
No,
That's
no,
the law
because
of
that's what
transitive
that free-
properties.
That's what that's
You literally
That's
just
what
said
that free will
A is
comes
equal to
from.
B and B is equal to C, but A is not equal to C. That's what you just said.
huh?
You just said A is equal to B is equal to C, but then C is not equal to A. That's what you just said.
That's not what I said.
That is exactly what you just said. That's the law of transitive properties.
Securing Charlie.
That's not what I said. I said
We are
I said-
taking Bravo.
that's the thing.
Charlie
Is like you're
secure.
not understand. You're trying to fight the fact that you're trying to make a statement that God is not all good.
Bravo
and
secure.
You're so livid in that position that you're not really trying to understand
We have the
What?
lead.
Mine!
someone else is coming from. Or like
Y'all in the
it's
chat
like,
again. He's not driving. Also, I'm not mad. That's a literally gaslighting what you're saying. I'm mad because I'm very calm with you right now. I'm very chill. You're violating the law
Can
of
you hear me,
transitive
though?
properties. Yes, I hear you.
Okay, so I'm saying that it's like you have to be able to like your whatever.
Two
you
objectives
believe in,
secure.
right? Which is okay. You're entitled to your own beliefs. But I have one question for you, bro. After this whole thing, right? If I'm wrong, right? I wasted my whole life believing. It's a question. If I'm wrong, I wasted my whole life believing in something
Friendly UAV on station.
that was
We are
not
losing
real,
Bravo.
like you said, right? That's if I'm wrong.
grenade.
But if I'm wrong,
Enemy is securing
you're
Bravo.
wrong. What would be your explanation of that? What would you
We have
say?
lost Bravo.
It's just an honest question.
I just happen
Enemy
to be
UAV
wrong.
overhead.
But Pascal's wager, what you just referenced, applies to any philosophy or any religion. This applies to every other religion, Judaism, it applies to Islam. It also applies to any philosophy that I just write down. If I write down a philosophy that says if you don't believe in this, you go to an eternal hell, but if you do believe in this, you go to
Securing
an eternal
objective
heaven or eternal
Bravo.
paradise, or so it's like the bad versus good thing again, like ultimate suffering or ultimate good, ultimate like happiness. So if I say the same thing,
enemy
if
controls
my,
two
whatever I
objectives.
believe in,
Push
is
the
the philosophy that I
offensive.
just wrote down, that's gonna make you have such a great thing. If I choose to believe in that,
Secure Bravo.
I just wasted my time doing basically nothing, and it's completely okay if it's not true. But if it is true, then you are wasting out on everything. Right? The same thing applies to every other religion. So what's the justification for your religion or for your belief comparative to the other one?
Blinding mine!
I believe that my religion is true because there's been evidence and facts about it.
We are taking Bravo.
Like the evidence.
Okay,
there's
so we
evidence,
rely upon
Exhibit
evidence
A,
now.
Exhibit A.
Objective
we're
Bravo
using
secure.
today. It's not because of the Big Bang.
That's not
or
evidence.
anything like that.
That's a presupposition.
That's a cold evidence of why
Hostile
God exists.
UAV in the
Because
area.
you're breathing. You woke up this morning.
Enemy is securing Charlie.
Yeah, no,
We
I
have
could wake
secured
up
the
this
lead.
morning and there could be a naturalistic
Enemy is
explanation
taking
for that.
Bravo.
There is naturalistic explanations for that.
Okay, when you, I have a question.
The
When
enemy
you get
took
that
Charlie.
kind of, no, not to be rude, bro. I don't mean this in any kind of rude way, but like.
The
when
enemy
you
holds
get
all
the,
objectives.
When you get the
Secure
information
resupply.
from, like,
Setting
you
mine!
believe that there's natural
Securing
explanation
objective
of why you
Bravo.
woke up this morning.
We have
Securing
things like
Alpha.
evolution, we have lots of evidence.
We
that
control
points towards
Charlie.
Evolution. We observe planetary
Okay.
light takes time to get to us.
Alpha
we
secure.
actually observe the creation of different things. Or not creation, we
Okay,
observe
so-
that in like the past.
We are losing
Okay, so
Alpha.
based on what humans
Secure Bravo.
found out, right?
Enemies here.
Based on what archaeologists or whatever, not archaeologists, the science guys or whatever.
We
their
hold
name
all
is,
objectives. Keep them secure. We have
What
lost
they're-
Alpha.
what
Yeah,
they
based
found out,
upon
right?
the evidence and
Blinding
facts.
mine!
Okay, so basically you're choosing to that's the thing. That's the one problem I have is because people are believe in what humans, people would believe the human part of it so quickly
Setting
over
mine!
to something. But the other thing, the biggest part of it is because you weren't there to believe, or you weren't there
have
to
the
believe that,
lead.
oh, God actually
We
exists,
control two
or God
objectives.
did talk to someone, or God did
Enemy UAV
divide,
overhead.
yeah, go ahead.
I care about the evidence and facts. Whatever the evidence and facts is pointing towards, that's the position. You told me earlier that the reason why you hold this position over other religions is because the evidence and facts. So why do you only prescribe the standard of evidence and facts for you comparing your religion to other religions? You don't do the same thing when you compare your model
Hostile
of
cruise
religion
missile
to other
incoming.
model of religious systems.
Because at the end of the day, it's God is who you need to serve.
Hostile Overwatch
That's
helo
a
incoming.
presupposition. How do you know
Our
God
UAV
exists?
is orbiting the area.
You don't have. It's like that's the thing. What do you mean? Why did God exist? Like I said before,
Enemy
At the end of
UAV
the day,
active.
the planet that we live. How do you think you came to? How do you think this world came to?
Evolution, very star evolution. I think these naturalistic explanations are something that you can't deny. Whether or not you can being is something you don't know. So evolution is very good at explains observed reality.
The headphones you have on, someone made that headphone.
You're halfway
So
to
they
mission
have to
complete.
create
We are losing
whatever
Bravo.
that exists.
Planting mine.
No, that's a false. That's a false.
Friendly missile
I
inbound.
know that my headphones
The enemy took
require
Bravo.
some type of design because I have prior experiences with humans that create things like headphones, so I have an expectation of what humans do based upon my experiences. I don't have
Okay.
that for the universe if you think that everything is designed.
I'm taking
Let me
enemy
give you an
fire.
explanation. I walk on the beach and I see SOS I know that that is written.
Survivor activated.
Be there, naturally speaking.
We
What
are
should be
taking
there given the
Bravo.
fact that humans interact with it. I have prior experience with both to make a differentiation between something that's designed and something that's
The enemy has captured 2 objectives. We control Bravo.
you can't compare this to something that's designed in the first place. And you ultimately fall to a position of I don't know if things are designed just based upon observing the fact
Friendly
that they're
SAE launch.
Cleared hot.
I guess you make a good
Setting
point.
mine.
But that's the thing. Is like, for everything that exists, a car doesn't manufacture itself. This planet didn't come
Hostile
on its
UAV
own.
in the area.
There has to be a creator behind everything that exists. It
Okay,
doesn't- it
when
just
you
doesn't
see a
come on its
car,
own.
do you expect that aliens created that, or do
We
you
have
expect
secured
that
2
humans
objectives.
Personally, I don't think I expect that the human.
Yeah, because you have prior experience with humans creating it. That's how you can tell the distinction between the two. Okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
So again, you use your prior experiences. Given the fact that we use our prior experiences, how do you compare everything in the universe that is designed to something that is not designed in order to determine that it's designed in the first place?
Because we know who designed it.
You don't know. That's a presupposition. We already went over the fact that it's a
But
presupposition.
there's
This
facts,
was the
but there's-
argument that you were
Enemy is
providing for
taking
how
Bravo.
we know that it exists. So
The
you're
reason-
making a circular claim now. Ultimately, this position
Securing
is dependent
objective
upon the
Alpha.
other position being true.
Objective
and that
Bravo is
position dependent upon
compromised.
this
Take it
position being
back.
true. You have no basis
Yeah.
for your claim here.
You're
Enemy's dead.
continually arguing about
Control Alpha.
about it because
Enemy
you
is
haven't
securing
seen
Alpha.
the archaeological or whatever kind of proof.
Securing objective
'cause,
Bravo.
like, you
Enemy
basically
is
want
taking Alpha.
proof to be added to you.
Objective
in a
Alpha is
certain way.
compromised.
You know,
Objective
that's
Bravo
the thing
secure.
that, as us Christians, we go by faith. We don't know. We personally haven't seen God through the biblical proof and every other proof that we have that faith
Enemy is
that,
securing
yes,
Bravo.
God does exist, and we chose to believe in that.
Okay.
Because
By
but
the
we
way,
don't
everyone in
have
the
to
chat,
see it.
he's not driving. Okay, so
We don't,
I
we don't
have
have to see it to believe.
okay. I have faith that Stewie Griffin created
Two
the
objectives
universe through a
secure.
temporal loop. Do you disagree with my position? Do you think it's wrong?
Friendly UAV online.
They're shooting at
Stewie
me.
Griffin, Family Guy. I believe that he created the universe through a temporal loop. I believe that through faith. Do you think that your belief is more justified than mine?
Well, that's
Enemy is taking Bravo.
whatever Griffin or whatever his name is. He's
We are losing Bravo.
Fictional character? Okay, well
Yeah.
then your god is just a fictional character. And I already actually proved that with the fact that you believe in a
We have
perfect
lost
god and
Bravo.
showed you
Enemy
there's a logical
UAV
contradiction.
active.
So yes,
Secure
the perfect
Bravo.
god
No,
you
you're
believe in is
going
fictional.
off. You're going off. That's the thing.
No, that's not what I'm
happens
going
in
off of.
No,
That's again,
that's
that's
the
not what I'm
only
going off
clear
of.
explanation.
We
No,
control Bravo.
what are you talking about? That's a complete straw man of my position.
Okay,
I just went
so
over
if-
why a perfect god it couldn't exist. I gave you the premise, you
Enemy is
agreed with all the
securing
premises,
Bravo.
and then I gave you the conclusion that was sound in terms of the premise, right? So again,
Friendly UAV on
you
station.
can't tell me that like, it's going based on, oh, I can't see it. That's not what I was going on. I literally showed you how there was a contradiction. You want me to go
I
over
have
the
a
argument
question.
again? I can.
I have a question. If God comes to you right now and says to you, this is how, basically shows you and
We've
explains
got them
to
on
you
the
this
run.
is how
Keep
it's
it
happening.
up. We control 2 objectives.
Got the sniper!
Yes.
Why? Why can't you believe now? Why? That's what I'm saying. You need
Because I
something.
don't know.
You
Because I
need
don't know.
something
When you say, look,
You need
because that
something
would just be a
specific.
way of getting me to know. If you could provide me with a rational argument that proves
Okay.
God
Enemy
exists,
UAV
well, then
overhead.
I'm gonna
Well-
believe that God exists. I don't need
Okay.
God to be shown to me in my face. I just need to be. I need there to be an
Blinding mine.
argument that is sound.
Well,
Mission is
there's no much
complete. Good
argument.
work.
You draw breath right now. That's enough proof.
I just told you how that's not enough proof, and we just went over that, but you're not actually interacting with the position that I held. You're simply just reasoning to claim that, oh, God is there because God is there.
Shit, yeah. But like at the end of the day, I'm almost at my destination. But at the end of the day, it's like the thing is, whether you believe it or not, no matter who's no matter who's listening right now, whether you believe it or not, God is the last person that we all in this life we're gonna